Behind the colorful world of Cartoon Network lies a shadowy collection of episodes deemed too shocking, controversial, or disturbing for television. These banned Cartoon Network episodes contain content so extreme that network executives pulled them from broadcast, often leaving them to become legendary forbidden fruit among animation fans. Today, we're diving into 4 of the most notorious banned Cartoon Network episodes that crossed the line and never made it to regular television, or were quickly removed after causing outrage. What you're about to discover might forever change how you view your childhood favorites. From explicit language to disturbing imagery and controversial themes, these episodes pushed boundaries far beyond what was considered acceptable for children's entertainment. Some have since leaked online, while others remain locked in network vaults, but all have achieved almost mythical status among cartoon enthusiasts. The Dexter's Laboratory banned episode Rude Removal stands as perhaps the most infamous banned content in Cartoon Network history. Created during the show's second season in 1998, this episode featured Dexter and his sister Dee Dee using a rude removal system that separated their polite and rude personalities into different bodies. What made this episode so controversial? The rude versions of the characters used excessive profanity, which, although bleeped out, was clearly implied and obvious to viewers of any age. The episode was so explicit that Cartoon Network executives immediately shelved it after a single screening at an animation festival. For years, rude removal existed only as a rumor among fans, with many questioning if it was even real. The network kept it locked away for nearly 15 years before Adult Swim finally released it online in 2013, confirming its existence to a generation of curious fans. What makes this case particularly shocking is how dramatically it departed from Dexter's Laboratory's usual family-friendly tone. Creator Jendy Tartakovsky later admitted the episode was never intended for children, but was made as an in-house joke for the animation team. The contrast between the show's innocent image and this profanity-laden episode made its banning inevitable, but also cemented its legendary status among banned cartoons. Courage, the Cowardly Dog. Scary episodes regularly pushed the boundaries of children's entertainment, but The Mask went so far that it faced significant censorship and was pulled from regular rotation. This episode from the show's 4th season featured a character named Kitty wearing a mask who befriends Courage while hiding from an abusive dog named Mad Dog. What made this episode particularly controversial was its not-so-subtle themes of domestic abuse, implied same-sex relationships, and revenge. The episode portrayed Mad Dog as violently abusive toward Kitty, with flashbacks showing disturbing scenes of psychological torment. Many parents complained that the episode's dark themes were inappropriate for Cartoon Network's young audience. The psychological horror in Courage the Cowardly Dog, scary episodes often bordered on adult content, but The Mask crossed into territory that network censors found too problematic. While it did air initially, it was quickly restricted from regular rotation and heavily edited in subsequent broadcasts. International Cartoon Network censorship was even stricter, with some countries removing the episode entirely. What's particularly notable about this banned TV episode is how it attempted to address serious social issues within the format of a children's cartoon, a bold creative choice that ultimately proved too controversial for the network's comfort. While Adventure Time pushed creative boundaries throughout its run, certain episodes faced widespread international Cartoon Network censorship due to content deemed inappropriate for children in various cultures. The Thin Yellow Line became one of the most heavily censored episodes globally, despite airing relatively unmodified in the United States. The episode featured the Banana Guards discussing their work experiences, including references to police brutality, corruption, and systemic problems within law enforcement. These themes, while handled with the show's characteristic surrealism, proved too politically charged for many international markets. Countries including Australia, parts of Europe, and several Asian nations either heavily edited the episode or refused to air it entirely. What makes this case fascinating is how it highlights the varying standards of Cartoon Network censorship across different cultures. Content considered acceptable in one region might be deemed highly inappropriate in another. The episode also demonstrates how even seemingly innocent cartoons can contain sophisticated social commentary that triggers censorship concerns. The controversy surrounding banned TV episodes like this one often increases interest in the content, creating a forbidden fruit effect that drives viewers to seek out the unedited versions online. Exactly what happened with The Thin Yellow Line, as fans worldwide shared uncensored clips. The Powerpuff Girls episode Speed Demon stands as one of the darkest, most disturbing entries in the series, so much so that it faced significant censorship and was pulled from regular rotation in many markets. This episode showed the girls accidentally traveling to a post-apocalyptic future where their absence had allowed him, one of the series' villains, to take over Townsville and drive its inhabitants insane. What made this episode particularly shocking was its genuinely horrifying imagery. The episode featured the girls' beloved Professor Utonium as an elderly, mentally broken man rocking back and forth in the ruins of their home. Other characters appeared as twisted, deformed versions of themselves, traumatized by decades of torment. The nightmarish visuals and existential horror themes were considered far too intense for the show's target audience. Many banned cartoons push boundaries with adult humor, but Speed Demon crossed the line with psychological horror that even disturbed adult viewers. Parents reported children having nightmares after watching the episode, leading to complaints and its eventual restriction. While it wasn't completely banned in the US, many international markets either heavily edited the apocalyptic sequences or removed the episode entirely. The history of Cartoon Network censorship shows that while sexual content and language are obvious targets, psychological horror that might traumatize young viewers can be equally problematic, a line this Powerpuff Girls episode clearly crossed. The history of banned cartoons reveals changing standards in children's entertainment over time. Early animation censorship focused primarily on racial stereotypes and explicit violence, as seen in the infamous Censored 11 Warner Brothers cartoons from the 1930s and 40s. Today's Cartoon Network censorship policies have evolved significantly since the 1990s, now focusing more on psychological impact, adult themes, and cultural sensitivity. What's particularly interesting is how these banned Cartoon Network episodes often gain legendary status precisely because they're forbidden. The controversy surrounding banned TV episodes creates a mystique that drives curious viewers to seek them out. Networks typically pull banned TV episodes quickly after public backlash, but in the internet age, this often backfires by drawing more attention to the controversial content. Collectors and animation enthusiasts often seek out banned cartoons for their historical and cultural significance, treating them as important artifacts of changing social standards. Meanwhile, the existence of these episodes raises important questions about creative freedom, age-appropriate content, and who gets to decide what children should see. These 4 banned Cartoon Network episodes represent just a small sample of animation content deemed too extreme for television. From explicit language to disturbing psychological horror, these episodes push boundaries in ways that ultimately led to their restriction or removal. The most notorious banned Cartoon Network episodes often contained adult humor or violence that contradicted the network's family-friendly image. What's clear is that as long as animation creators continue to push creative boundaries, there will always be content that crosses the invisible line of acceptability. Many banned Cartoon Network episodes have since been leaked online despite network efforts to contain them, ensuring their legacy lives on in animation history. The next time you're watching your favorite cartoons, remember that behind the scenes, there might be episodes deemed too shocking, controversial, or disturbing for broadcast, hidden treasures or nightmares of animation that tell us as much about our cultural boundaries as they do about the shows themselves.